Hey, Robert here with Bedbugs Florida Heater Rentals. I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about how to set up and operate our 200 square foot bedbug heating system. Be sure to follow our online instructions for how to prepare the room before starting. This is an entry-level setup, very simple to use, and it's perfect for heating one small bedroom in one day. It is technically rated to heat 200 square feet of empty space under ideal conditions, or about 150 square feet of furnished space. If you have less than ideal conditions, like concrete block construction, not so good insulation, drafty windows, very high ceilings, lots of furniture, and so on, you'll always want to step up to the more powerful 400 system. You can always have more heat, but you can never be undersized. When you rent the 200 square foot heating system, you'll receive a bedbug heater fan plus one air mover fan, so two total fans, of which one produces the heat. For powering the heating elements, you'll receive these 210 volt heating cables that provide you with about 100 square feet of heating power per cable, and they plug right here into the side of the heater. We provide a mix of 50 and 25 foot lengths of cable, so you'll have ample distance to get them plugged in anywhere they need to go around the house. This small heating system is a very simple plug-in, and your home will easily be able to support the power requirements needed. Setting up your 200 heat system is an easy 5 steps. Step 1. Place the heater and fan where you want them to go in a way that makes circular airflow. Step 2. Plug in the fans. Step 3. Plug in your two 110 volt heating cables into the side of the heater. Step 4. Plug in the heat cables into wall outlets around your house. Step 5. Turn the heat system on to start killing the bugs. Okay, so let's head out to the customer's house and let's get started with our demonstration. So here we are in a single family home. There are two small kids' bedrooms that need to be treated for bed bugs, and we're going to show you how to set up the fans in two different ways. In the little girl's room, it's about 135 square feet, including the closet. It has a bed right in the middle of the room, as you can see, and it has a medium to large amount of furniture, I'd say, overall. This room is pretty close to the maximum size and furniture density that I'd be comfortable heating up with using the 200 system. If your room is any bigger than this or it has more furniture, you would definitely be best served stepping up to our 400 square foot heating system. The first step in the heating process is to always place your fans and your heater where you want them to go. Your ultimate goal is to create a circular airflow effect around the bed, like a vortex or a hurricane of airflow that constantly revolves around the room in a looping motion. In this room, place the heater on one side of the bed nearest to the door, with the airflow blowing towards the headboard. The other fan will be on the other side of the bed, blowing air towards the footrail. With this setup, we have energized heat that leaves the heater and will get pushed around the bed. It then gets sucked into the back of the fan and pushed back around to the foot of the bed and into the heater again. The good news is that the furniture in this room, including the bed, if you'll see, is all raised off the floor at least 4 or 5 inches. And so there was a minimal amount of furniture that you would need to move away from the walls in this case. I'd say the furniture has been pulled forward maybe a few inches total, nothing more. This style furniture allows for airflow to easily travel underneath and behind it. If your furniture isn't this style, you may need to pull some or all of the furniture off the walls to more properly account for the airflow getting behind it. Note that you can always move things around during the heating process as needed if your space is limited. Here in the boys' room, which is right next door, it's 125 square feet, including the closet. The key difference here is that the bed is in the corner of the room, not in the middle like it was next door. The bed should be pulled away from the walls towards the center of the room and carefully have the mattress and box springs stood on their edges. Now, when placing the fans, you have the ability to get some of that same circular airflow that we're looking for. These two rooms will take 2 days to treat. To get it done over 1 day, you'll step up to our 400 square foot system instead. Once your fans are placed where you want them, you'll plug in the thin black cables that are wrapped around the heater and the fan. These cables power just the air blowers, not heat, and so you simply plug them in anywhere you want to the closest outlet available in the room. For heating power, there are two cables that you'll plug into the side of the heater first. These heat cables draw 12 amps apiece, and so they must be plugged into two different regular wall outlets that are protected by two different circuit breakers. So you route the two heat cables under your bedroom door, and in this case, one was plugged into the kitchen outlet and the other into the living room outlet. Do not plug in these heat cables into the outlets within the bedroom itself because your fans are plugged in there and you'll trip the circuit breaker. Never plug in the heating cables into the top of the air-moving fans either. Once plugged in, verify that you have an orange light glowing for each of the cables used. If any of these lights ever go off mid-treatment, you know that you've tripped a circuit breaker and you'll need to make an adjustment. So now it's time to turn on the heating system, and to do that, you first push the green buttons or dials on top of each fan. On the heater, you simply push this green button, and then you push the two yellow buttons to engage the heating elements. You must see the temperature displaying on the heater. If the temperature is ever not displaying, that means you've lost power at some point and need to re-engage the heat elements by pushing those two yellow buttons again. Once you turn on the heat system, it's always a good idea to stick around for a few minutes to ensure that you've got it plugged in properly and that you don't trip any circuit breakers. You also want to take a few minutes to ensure that the air conditioning vent is closed and that you're not blowing cold air into the room that you're trying to make hot. It may seem silly, but it can be easily overlooked. Also, verify that you don't have any loose paperwork or anything else that could get sucked into one of the fans. When leaving the room for the final time, be sure to put a bath towel or something similar at the crack of the door. This will help keep the heat inside. It's always best practice to check on the system as often as reasonably possible. Typically, that means every 3 to 5 hours is a pretty good rule of thumb. It's really important to be patient and let the system do its work. Eventually, as it heats up, you want to confirm the approximate time that you hit 120 degrees on the heater. And from there, you start using your temperature gun to check all areas around the space. The goal is to ultimately have every square inch of space above 120 degrees when you measure it with your temperature gun, not just on the heater unit itself. We want those nooks and crannies to get exposed to that 120 degree kill temperature. In this house, it did take about 10 hours or so to achieve 120 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, so after the 120 degree kill point is achieved, then you want to let the system run for another 6 to 12 more hours to allow that heat to bake into all the nooks and crannies around the walls and into the furniture. If your temperatures get into the higher 130s or 140 even, you can typically shut it down a little bit sooner than 10 to 12 hours, maybe 6 to 10 hours above 120 degrees would be okay if you're in that higher zone. If your temperatures hover around the 120s, maybe mid-120s, you want to let it run for that full 10 to 12 hours of bake time above that kill temperature. You can always let it run longer. Shutting it off prematurely can only hurt you. Once you've been baking in the kill zone above 120 degrees for a few hours, it's always best to go inside and rotate your mattress, your couch cushions, and other things to ensure that there's no cold spots. This is the point where the temperatures get as hot as it would feel, say, inside of a hot car on a hot summer day or up in an attic or in a sauna. I mean, you want to be careful, but it's no hotter than a sauna. And so you have the ability to go inside, check things, make adjustments, and get out. So when it's finally time to shut the system down, simply push the buttons on top of the fans. In our example room, kill temperature was achieved after 9 hours of heating. The temperature reached a total of 135 degrees at its maximum, so it was allowed to run for another 9 hours at full temperature. So the total runtime from start to finish on this bedroom project was 18 hours. So, as you can see from our demonstration here, setting up a 200 square foot heating system is a very simple process. Almost anyone is able to tackle a project like this. It's very do-it-yourself friendly, especially if you follow our step-by-step instructions. You can always call or text us for assistance if you need any help while heating is taking place. If you feel like you want a helping hand or a little in-person guidance, We do offer a delivery service. With the delivery option, we'll bring the equipment to your home, ensure that it's operating before we leave, and then we'll come pick it up once you're all finished with it. The delivery is more expensive, but it's also a lot more convenient. If you pick up the system from us, it would easily fit into any vehicle that you have. Either way, give us a call to discuss your options, and remember, heating is the only technique that the bedbugs cannot develop an immunity to. So take your time, be thorough, and good luck.